I've always believed that trust was the foundation of our marriage. For 6 years, Emily and I had built a life together. A small house in the suburbs, 2 rescue dogs, weekend brunches with friends. We weren't perfect, but we were solid, or so I thought. Last month, my company sent me on a week-long trip to Denver. Business trips weren't unusual for me, but this time, Emily seemed oddly distracted before I left. She brushed it off, saying work was just stressful lately, but her phone seemed permanently attached to her hand. She would angle the screen away when I walked into the room, and I caught her smiling, even blushing, at messages I wasn't privy to. I told myself not to overthink it. We'd been together too long for me to assume the worst. 3 nights into my trip, I got a text from my next-door neighbor, Mark. He's in his late 50s, retired, and spends most evenings on his porch with a beer in hand, watching the street like it's his personal TV. His message was short. Hey, there's been a silver sedan parked in your driveway almost every night since you left. Not sure if you're expecting someone. At first, I brushed it off. Emily could have friends over. It could be a coworker, a cousin, even her friend Jenna, who sometimes stayed late. But something about Mark's tone made me uneasy. He didn't usually send messages like this unless he thought something was off. I called Emily that night. She sounded cheerful, almost too cheerful. I asked how her week was going. She said work was busy but fine, and the dogs were being angels. I asked if anyone had come over. She hesitated for just a beat before saying, "Oh, yeah, Jenna stopped by once or twice." Then she changed the subject. The next day, Mark texted again. "That silver car is here right now." It was nearly 9 p.m. in Denver, which meant it was 10 back home. I stared at my hotel room wall for a good minute before replying. "Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it." I didn't tell Emily about Mark's texts. Instead, I moved my flight up by a day without telling her. I wanted to see for myself what was going on. The flight home felt like it lasted forever. My stomach was in knots. I kept telling myself I was overreacting, that it could be nothing, that I'd walk in and feel stupid for doubting her. But deep down, there was a part of me that already knew. When I pulled into my street, my heart nearly stopped. There it was, a silver sedan in my driveway. Lights were on in the house. My hands were shaking as I killed the engine and just sat there for a moment, trying to gather my courage. I walked up to the front door as quietly as I could. The dogs didn't bark, which was strange, because they always went crazy when I came home. I slipped my key into the lock and opened the door slowly. I could hear voices. A man's voice, and Emily's laugh, the kind of laugh I hadn't heard from her in months. It was soft, intimate. I stepped inside, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I followed the sound to the kitchen, and there she was, Emily, wearing a gray hoodie that definitely wasn't mine. She was leaning against the counter, a mug in her hands, smiling up at a man I'd never seen before. He was close, too close, his hand resting casually on the counter beside her, like he belonged there. For a second, they didn't notice me. I just stood there, frozen, my mind screaming at me to say something, to do something. But my voice wouldn't come out. Then Emily turned her head and saw me. Her smile vanished instantly. The color drained from her face. The man straightened up, his expression shifting from casual to defensive. "James," Emily said, her voice low, almost guilty. "You're home early." I looked at her, then at him. "Yeah," I said quietly. "Seems like I am." The moment the door clicked shut behind Ryan, the kitchen felt smaller, like the walls had moved in on us. Emily's hands were still wrapped around the coffee mug, though it was empty now. She stared into it, as if the patterns in the bottom could save her. I stayed where I was, my heartbeat loud enough in my ears that I almost didn't hear her when she spoke. "You weren't supposed to be home until Thursday," she said, her voice low. "That's the first thing you want to say to me right now?" I asked. My voice sounded steady, but inside, everything was shaking. She set the mug down on the counter. "I'm just surprised. That's all." I glanced at the hoodie she was wearing, the way it hung too loosely on her shoulders. "Looks like I'm not the only one who surprised you." She folded her arms, pulling the fabric tighter. "James, you're reading too much into this." I stepped closer, keeping my voice calm. "Then explain it to me. Explain why my neighbor saw a silver sedan parked in our driveway every night this week. Explain why I just walked in to see you wearing another man's hoodie, laughing like a teenager." Her eyes flicked toward the doorway where Ryan had just left, then back to me. "He's a friend from work." He came over to help me fix the sink. A friend from work who spends the night here? I asked. Is that how you fix a leak now? Her lips tightened. He didn't spend the night. Then why did Mark see his car here almost every night? I stepped past her and opened the back door just to feel the cold air, just to have something sharp hit me that wasn't her words. Don't lie to me, Emily. She didn't follow me outside. I'm not lying, she said from the kitchen. Yes, he's been here a few times. More than a few. I needed company. I turned back inside, shutting the door behind me. Company? Emily, we've been married 6 years. You needed company, you could have called me. You're never here, she shot back, the first real edge in her voice. You're always traveling, always working late. I eat dinner alone more nights than I can count. I've been lonely. So your solution was to invite him into our home? I asked. Into our kitchen? While wearing his clothes. She looked down at the hoodie like she'd just realized what she was wearing. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is, I said. Because right now it looks exactly like what I think. Her shoulders sagged. We've kissed. That's it. I swear. The words hit me like a punch to the chest. My jaw tightened. When? A few times, she admitted. Once here. Once in his car. And, she stopped herself. And, I pressed. And at work, she finished, almost in a whisper. I felt my pulse in my temples. Why, Emily? She rubbed her hands over her face. I don't know. It just happened. I didn't plan it. I laughed once, humorless. People don't just happen into kissing each other. There's a choice. There's always a choice. She looked at me finally, her eyes glassy. I made the wrong one. For a moment, neither of us said anything. The fridge hummed. Somewhere outside, a car passed by. It felt like the whole world was still moving while I was stuck in this moment. My phone buzzed on the counter. I almost ignored it, but the preview made my blood run cold. It was a message from an unknown number. Asterisk, hi, James. This is Kayla. We need to talk. Tonight. Asterisk. Who's Kayla? I asked, my voice flat. Emily froze. Why? Because she just texted me. I said, holding up the phone. She says we need to talk. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. She took a small step back. She's Ryan's wife. The words hung in the air, heavier than anything she'd said all night. Before I could respond, another message came through. Asterisk, I'm outside. Asterisk. I stared at the door, then at Emily. She's here. Emily's face went pale. James, please, don't make a scene. I didn't answer. I walked to the front door, each step slower than the last. When I opened it, a woman in her early 30s stood there, holding a tote bag like it was keeping her upright. She had dark hair pulled back in a messy bun and eyes that looked both exhausted and determined. You must be James, she said. I'm Kayla. I'm sorry to come like this, but I think we need to compare notes. I stepped aside, letting her in. She glanced once at Emily, who had stayed in the kitchen doorway, then set her bag on the coffee table. From it, she pulled a thick folder and began laying out printed screenshots, dates highlighted in yellow, messages in neat rows. These are from Ryan's phone, she said. I went through it last night. I didn't know if you knew. She gestured toward the table, toward the evidence. But you deserve to. Emily shifted uncomfortably, her arms still crossed. Kayla, this isn't. Save it, Kayla cut in. I'm not here for excuses. I picked up one of the pages. It was a string of messages between Emily and Ryan. Asterisk, if he's back Thursday, we have tonight. Asterisk, asterisk, I'll bring your favorite. Asterisk, a heart emoji. My stomach churned. How long? I asked Emily, still looking at the paper. She hesitated. A couple of months. Kayla added, try 4. I checked the first message. It was in April. I set the paper down carefully. For months. Emily's voice cracked. James, please. I held up a hand. No, not right now. Kayla reached into her bag again and took out a USB drive. This has footage from your own doorbell camera. He forgot about the cloud backup. You can see him arriving, leaving, the times. It matches the nights Mark saw the car. Emily's head dropped into her hands. Oh my God. I took the USB, feeling its weight in my palm. Why are you doing this? I asked Kayla. Because I'm leaving him, she said simply. And you deserve to make your decisions with the truth, not whatever story he's planning to tell you. For the first time that night, I felt something close to gratitude. Thank you, I said. Kayla nodded once, then gathered the rest of the papers. I'll email you copies. I didn't come to cause a scene. I just needed you to know. She walked to the door, pausing for just a moment. Good luck, James. Whatever you decide. When the door closed behind her, the silence felt like a weight. Emily was still standing by the kitchen doorway, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I didn't move toward her. We're not done talking, I said. But not tonight. She nodded slowly, like each movement cost her effort. Without another word, she turned and walked toward the guest room, her footsteps soft on the carpet. I stood there for a long time, staring at the folder on the coffee table, the USB drive in my hand, and the empty space where Kayla had stood. My life felt like it had been split into two parts, before tonight and after. I didn't sleep that night. I lay on the couch with the dogs curled at my feet, the folder of printed messages sitting on the coffee table like it was watching me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the hoodie, the way she smiled at him, the look on her face when she realized I'd come home early. Around 3 a.m., I gave up on sleep. I got up, made coffee I didn't need, and plugged the USB drive Kayla had given me into my laptop. The folder labeled, Your Doorbell, sat there like a dare. I opened it. Clips, one after another. The silver sedan pulling into the driveway. Ryan stepping out, glancing around like he was checking for witnesses. Sometimes he carried a bag. Sometimes just a coffee cup. Always the same knock. 3 quick, 1 long, 2 quick. Emily opening the door almost immediately, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. In one clip, he kissed her before even stepping inside. I closed the laptop. My hands were shaking, but it wasn't just anger. It was the realization that this wasn't a momentary lapse. This was a routine, a pattern, something practiced. By morning, I had a plan. Not revenge. Not yet. Just clarity. Emily came into the kitchen around 9, her hair messy, wearing a sweater I recognized as hers this time. She looked like she hadn't slept either. James, she started. I held up a hand. I'm going to talk. You're going to listen. She sat down slowly at the table. I don't want excuses, I said. I don't want you to tell me it was just a kiss, or that you were lonely. I know all of that already. What I want is the whole truth. When it started, how it happened, how far it went. If I have to hear it from someone else again, we're done. Her fingers twisted together. It started in April. We were working late. I was venting about you being gone so much, and he listened. He brought me coffee the next day, then lunch. Then, she exhaled. It was easy to talk to him. Too easy. I didn't stop it. Did you sleep with him? I asked. She shook her head. No, I swear. It was emotional. And physical, but not that far. I studied her face. You realize I have zero reason to believe you. She nodded. I know. I poured coffee into a mug, set it down in front of her, and sat across from her. So here's how it's going to go. I'm not deciding anything today. Not divorce. Not forgiveness. Nothing. I'm taking time. But while I do, you're going to give me full access to your phone, your accounts, your everything. If there's anything you're hiding, now is the time. She bit her lip, then slid her phone across the table. Passcode's the same. I unlocked it, opened messages, typed Ryan. Dozens of results. I scrolled through them in silence. Flirty comments. Inside jokes. Late night, can't sleep, texts. Photos of our dogs. A picture of my coffee mug in his hand. That one made my stomach twist. When I was done, I set the phone down. Delete nothing, I said. If I find anything missing, we're done. She nodded. We sat in silence for a long minute. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I opened it. Unknown asterisk asterisk, this is Kayla. He knows I talked to you. He's furious. Just a heads up, he might try to show up. Asterisk. I looked at Emily. Is he the kind of guy who'd show up here? Her eyes widened. Yes. He hates losing control. I stood, went to the front door, and locked it. Then I pulled the blinds halfway down. What are you doing? She asked. Making sure the next time he knocks, I'm the one who opens the door, I said. As if on cue, 20 minutes later, there was that same knock. 3 quick, 1 long, 2 quick. Emily froze. The dog started barking. I walked to the door and opened it. Ryan stood there, hands in his hoodie pockets, eyes scanning past me like he expected to see her first. We need to talk, he said. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. No, you need to leave. She told me she loves me, he said, like it was a trump card. You can't stop that. I smiled, but it wasn't friendly. You know what I can stop? You coming anywhere near my house again. His jaw tightened. You think you're in control here? I don't need to be in control, I said. I just need to be done with you. He stepped forward, lowering his voice. She's not who you think she is. I know, I said. That's why you're standing on my porch instead of sitting in my kitchen. For a second, I thought he might swing at me. Instead, he shook his head, muttered something I couldn't catch, and walked back to his car. The silver sedan roared to life and pulled away. I stood there until it turned the corner, then went back inside. Emily was sitting at the table, staring at her hands. What did he say? She asked. Nothing worth repeating, I said. She nodded, but I could see the way her shoulders loosened just slightly, like she'd been holding her breath. I didn't tell her that in that moment. I knew exactly how Block 4 of this story was going to start. That night, the house felt like it belonged to strangers. I moved around it in silence, each familiar object now carrying a different weight. The photo of us on the mantle from our trip to San Diego looked like it belonged to two people I didn't know. The couch where we'd watched movies together felt like a piece of furniture in someone else's living room. Emily stayed in the guest room. I could hear her moving around in there, opening drawers, closing them again. I didn't know if she was packing or just keeping herself busy, so she didn't have to think. I sat at the kitchen table, the USB drive still in my pocket, Kayla's folders spread out in front of me. Every screenshot was another thread in a web I didn't realize had been spun around me for months. I went through them slowly, not to torture myself, but to make sure I knew exactly what I was dealing with. There's a strange kind of calm that comes when you've already seen the worst and you're just cataloging it. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. It was Kayla. Kayla ***, he's trying to spin it already. He says you're overreacting. That you and Emily were basically done before he came along. **. I typed back. **, he's lying. And you know it. Kayla ***, of course. Just watch yourself. He's angry. **. I stared at that last message for a while. Angry. I thought about the look on his face earlier, the way he stepped toward me like he was testing boundaries. I didn't think he'd try anything violent, but I didn't underestimate how far someone might go when they felt like they were losing. I locked the doors again before going to bed on the couch. The dog stayed close, Luna at my feet and Scout by the door. I didn't sleep much, but when I did, I dreamed of hearing that knock again. By morning, I decided I needed answers from Emily that went beyond I was lonely. I made coffee, sat at the table, and waited for her to come out. She did, just before 9, wearing sweats and an oversized t-shirt. Her eyes were puffy, her hair unbrushed. Sit down, I said. My voice was flat. Saturday, we're going to go through this start to finish, I told her. No more half-truths. She rubbed her hands together. Okay. When exactly did it start? I asked. In April, she said. We stayed late at work. I was stressed, you were out of town again, and he listened. He made me feel heard. And that's all it took? I asked. A conversation? It was more than that, she admitted. It was attention. I'd forgotten what that felt like. I leaned back in my chair. So, attention was worth risking everything we built. Her lips trembled. I didn't think it would go this far. I slid one of the screenshots toward her. This was in May. You were already sending him photos from our kitchen. You're wearing the dress I bought you for our anniversary. She looked down at the paper. I know. I wanted her to deny it. To give me something, anything, to make me believe this wasn't as bad as it looked. But she didn't. Why him? I asked finally. She shook her head. I don't know. He was there. He knew what to say. He made me feel important. I stared at her. Do you love him? Her eyes darted away. No. I thought I might, but no. That hesitation told me more than her words. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number this time. Unknown ***, he's back. Parked 2 houses down. ***. I stood, walked to the window, and sure enough, there was the silver sedan. Ryan was sitting inside, looking straight at the house. Emily came up behind me. What's he doing here? I'll find out, I said. I stepped outside, leaving the door open behind me. The morning air was cold, the sky overcast. I walked straight to the car. Ryan rolled down the window, smirking. You really think locking the door is going to keep me away? He asked. I think it'll slow you down, I said. What do you want? I wanted to hear from you, he said. Not her. Is this really where you want to take it? Lawyers, drama, we could handle this like men. I laughed once sharp. Like men? You've been sneaking into my house while I was away. You've been texting my wife at midnight. You don't get to talk about handling anything like a man. His smile faded. She told me she's done with you. Funny, I said. She's sleeping in the guest room in my house. Not yours. That got to him. His jaw tightened. You don't know her like I do. And you don't know me at all, I said. So let's keep it that way. I stepped back from the car. Leave. Now. Next time, I'm calling the police. He looked like he wanted to argue, but instead he put the car in gear and drove off, the tires crunching against the pavement. When I got back inside, Emily was pacing. What did he say? Nothing that matters, I told her. But in truth, every word mattered, because it confirmed one thing. Ryan wasn't going to let this go quietly. By afternoon, I'd made 2 calls, one to a lawyer, one to a therapist. I didn't know yet if I wanted to save the marriage or end it, but I knew I wasn't going to keep living in this limbo. When Emily saw me hang up, she asked, "Who was that?" "Someone who's going to help me figure out what comes next," I said. She nodded, her eyes shining. "I want to fix this, James. I'll do whatever it takes." I didn't answer right away. Instead, I looked at the folder on the table, the USB drive next to it, and thought about how much truth was still buried somewhere in those files. "Good," I said finally, "because we're just getting started." The next morning, the air in the house felt heavier, like the walls were holding on to the tension from the night before. I made coffee without asking if Emily wanted any. She came into the kitchen a few minutes later, wearing jeans and a sweater, her hair pulled back. It was the first time in days she looked like she was trying to appear put together. "Can we talk?" she asked cautiously. "We've been talking," I said, keeping my eyes on my mug. "What's left?" "A lot," she admitted. "But I want to start with this. Ryan isn't coming back here. I told him last night not to contact me again." I looked up at her. "Did he believe you?" She hesitated. "I don't know, but I meant it." "That's not good enough," I said. "You should have blocked him days ago." She pulled out her phone and placed it on the table. "Do it yourself, then." I picked it up, found his number, and blocked it. Then I went into her social media accounts and did the same. It felt mechanical, like taking out the trash, necessary, but not nearly enough to clean the smell. She watched me the whole time. "I know you don't trust me right now," she said. "And you have every reason not to. But I'm here. I'm not running from this." I set the phone down. "Good. Because I have questions." For the next hour, I went through every detail she was willing to share, how it started, how it escalated, what they talked about when they weren't flirting. She admitted to more kisses than she'd told me before. She said they'd met up twice outside of the house, both times when I was traveling. Once for coffee, once for dinner that turned into hours of sitting in his car talking. "Talking," I repeated. "Yes," she said firmly. "Nothing else." I didn't say I believed her, but I didn't call her a liar either. I was saving my judgment for later. Around 11, my phone buzzed. It was Kayla again. "Kayla ***, just a heads up." He's furious I cut him off. "He's saying he's going to set the record straight with you." Asterisk. I replied. Asterisk, what does that mean? Asterisk. "Kayla ***, it means he's probably coming to see you. Be careful." Asterisk. I showed the message to Emily. Her face went pale. "James, maybe we should just go somewhere. Stay at a hotel." "No," I said. "I'm not running from him. He's not going to control this narrative." The knock came less than 20 minutes later. Not the code this time, just 3 hard, deliberate pounds. I stood, motioned for Emily to stay back, and opened the door. Ryan stood there. No hoodie today, just a plain black jacket. His eyes were sharp, restless. "We need to talk," he said. "No," I replied, stepping out onto the porch and closing the door behind me. "You need to leave." He smirked. "She told you everything, huh?" "Enough," I said. "Enough for what?" He tilted his head. "Divorce? Or are you going to pretend you can fix this?" "That's none of your business," I said. "You've done enough damage." He took a small step closer. "You know she came to me. I didn't go chasing after her. She was already halfway out the door when you weren't around." "She was lonely," I said. "You exploited that. Don't act like this was fate." His smirk faded. "You're going to lose her anyway. Might as well make it easy on yourself." I felt a surge of heat in my chest, but I kept my voice even. "This is the last time you come here. Next time, I call the cops." He stared at me for a long moment, then shrugged. "Your call, man. But she'll come back. They always do." He turned and walked away, and I stood there until the silver sedan disappeared from view. When I came back inside, Emily was standing just inside the hallway. "What did he say?" Nothing worth repeating, I said again, though my mind replayed every word. The rest of the day was quiet. I worked in the office. She stayed in the living room with the dogs. In the evening, she came to the doorway. "James," she said softly, "can I sit with you?" I gestured to the chair across from me. She sat, tucking her legs under herself. "I've been thinking a lot," she said. "About us. About what I did. I don't want this to be the end." I looked at her. "And what if it is?" Her eyes filled. "Then I'll know I did this to myself. But I want to try. Counseling. Honesty. Whatever it takes." I leaned back, studying her face. "You think this is something you can just repair? Like patching a leak in the sink?" "No," she said quickly. "I know it's bigger than that. I know it's not just about him. It's about us, and what we stopped giving each other." That last part hit me harder than I expected. Because she wasn't wrong. We had drifted. I just never thought the gap would be filled by someone else. I didn't answer right away. I thought about the folder on the table, the USB drive, Kayla's warnings. I thought about Ryan's smug face on my porch. Finally, I said, "Here's what's going to happen. We go to counseling, together and separately. Total transparency. Every password, every account, no secrets. And I take as much time as I need to decide if I can ever trust you again." She nodded quickly. "Yes, whatever you need. And if I find out there's even one thing you've left out," I added, "it's over. Immediately." She swallowed hard. "I understand." For the first time in days, there was a strange, tentative quiet between us. Not peace, not yet, but maybe the first step toward something. Or the first step toward the end. I didn't know which. That night, I took the dogs for a walk alone. The air was cold, the streetlights casting long shadows on the pavement. As I passed Mark's porch, he lifted a hand in greeting. "Things any better?" he asked. I thought about lying, but instead I said, "Too soon to tell." He nodded like he understood. "Well, I'm here if you need me." When I got back, Emily was in the kitchen, making tea. She looked up as I came in, a small, cautious smile on her face. I didn't smile back, but I didn't look away either. We said nothing as I poured myself some water and leaned against the counter. She stood there holding her mug, both of us suspended in the same unspoken question. Is this the beginning of fixing what's broken, or just the calm before the final break? I didn't have the answer, and maybe neither did she.